In terms of Cheltenham, there's been a couple pulled out. Sprinter Sacra Q card.
Can I just say something though? How many jockeys to achieve what Johnny's achieved would come on the phone and be so down to earth like that?
He's a lovely fella.
He is a lovely fella.
Yeah.
And you know, all the best for him. And as I said before, I'm sure training horses, he'll be just as successful as riding horses.
You know, he's just a successful bloke, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, I've got my fingers crossed for him as a trainer. I know, and
he's even given us less time to argue with the bookmakers.
Sorry,
he's even given us less time to argue with the
I
bookmaking industry.
feel like
shall
Johnny's
we say?
almost sedated him a bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shall we fly into a bit of this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Betting industry.
Yeah. You talk about the exchanges.
Betting, yeah. So we say, you know, you can't exactly get all the money on with the fixed odds bookmakers, but then I suppose, is that the same problem with not being able to get your bet matched on an exchange? Is that maybe where you're putting your point from?
Well, I mean, as I say, when before Johnny came on the phone, we were talking about, you know, the discussion I was having with Tony Calvin at ex-Betfair, who was basically turning around and saying that one of the problems of the exchange is that you have to deposit your money in order to get matched. And that the reason why there's no liquidity on the anti-post market, I mean, you can back a horse at Cheltenham to win pennies on Betfair right now, which is the most powerful exchange, is because people have to deposit the money several weeks in advance. But I mean, you know, people are regularly depositing money in banks for years and years and years on 1% per year. I mean, I believe people would happily deposit their money in exchanges to make money if it was available to make. So one of the key questions is that, you know, when you talk about a lot of people that criticise bookmakers are those that play regularly on exchanges.
Yeah.
But they don't find the liquidity on exchanges for them to play at the top of the market and expect the bookmakers to fill the gap.
Well, I mean, somebody I'm sure, you know, does use the exchange system. Billy Blakeman over here. Are you one that also criticises the, you know, old school bookmakers being a man of the exchanges, or?
No, I've been critical. I mean, the grievances for me are very simple. Jeff's got a point. If you've got people who are just taking the top of the price for large sums, that's one thing. But the bookmakers should take a fair amount off a punter on a Saturday in a shop on the phone. I've had an account closed in the past year for winning £700 over 6 months. It's not an amount of money. I wasn't cherry picking the best price, but the principle of the fact that I've won from this bookmaker, they've closed my account. And that's
why should people be banned for being cleverer than the traders and the bookmakers? That's what it ultimately comes down to.
Of course, if there's that
it comes down to being
there.
cleverer. They're cleverer than the bookmaker and the traders that they employ.
The answer to your question is simply business. I mean,
but employ some of those people that are better than your traders then.
I mean, you know, the answer to your question, the simple answer to your question is business. When you look at somebody like Billy Blakeman, for example, top of the tipster table, and he's moaning and complaining on this show and saying, I only won £700.
But employ him.
At the end of the
employ
day,
people like him.
At the end of, to do what?
To actually do what your traders can't do. If he's winning money off you, then he's better than the people that you employ.
There's 1,000 tipsters prepared to who approach me every week to offer me their services. The same 1,000 tipsters who offer their services professionally online to punters, because the reason why they do that is because they can't get on with bookmakers. The only way they can make a business out of it is not by punting, but literally by offering tips.
But you wouldn't say to Billy, "Oh, the maximum I'll give you, Billy, is a £2 bet or a £5 bet."
No. But I'm a different case. But if you were to ask me, am I going to take on? Do I take on as a businessman professional gamblers? The answer is no.
Yeah, but is that just horse racing?
It doesn't matter.
You take a bet on a football bet.
It doesn't matter. It does not matter, Peter. Whatever the sport is, I had a conversation with an extremely nice fellow this week who specialises only in golf. And he started off his punting career with me, basically saying, "I would like to. Will you lend me a bet at Bet365?"
So he found a reliable strategy to do with golf.
No, he's a professional punter who specialises in golf. It isn't just about horse racing, Billy.
No. Yeah.
The point was that he specialised in that sport. Do I forecast that I'm going to beat him as a businessman? The answer is no.
You do, of course you do, because you set your odds. It's a game. Yeah. It's a game where luck's involved as well. You can't be just because you've got somebody who's a professional.
In a world, Tom, where the reality is in a world where Paddy Power are prepared to offer you a £50 online mobile bet where in the Supreme Novices, I hate to plug Paddy Power here, but it's only 50 quid, so it's not going to affect any of my customers. At the end of the day, second, third or fourth, we're going to give you your money back in the Supreme Novices at Cheltenham, all this. This is what bookmakers are competing with. People that are bent on market share.
So there'll be more of them as well. Come build up to Cheltenham. You know, every single bookmaker are going to go attacking.
They will the bookmaker therefore has to make his money, I suppose, is not running around anti-post on machines and trying to get people there. It's on course. All the money has to be made on course, does it?
You have to remember, Tom, that when I grew up, what I was based my whole career on was when Cheltenham was the pinnacle of the bookmakers' annual punting year as a bookmaker.
Yeah.
We used to come out and we used to punt, or rather my father used to punt, and I used to stand alongside and watch these bets with my mouth open. And that was what used to happen. But now what Paddy Power make their money out of are roulette tables. It's got nothing to do with horse race. Do you think that Paddy Power are going to go into the Supreme Novice Hurdle and go, wow, what a lot of money we're going to make? No, what they're going to talk about is the 15-18% they're going to whack off their bottom line.
Does that affect you as a Rails bookmaker, the fact that a lot of people will get the offers and not come down to you?
People that bet with me want more than £50 on.
The only thing I would say is if a 66 to 1 shot wins a Class 7, it must be rated about 22.
There's no such thing as a 66 to 1 shot in a Class 7, is the truth. But I'm sure Jeff's won a few pounds on the race.
I mean, regardless, he's won it off a fair playing field, and that's racing. It's not a cracking race, but that's what's happened at the end of the day. If you got the winner, fair play. It's 33 to 1. Let's just jump back to where we were before the break, talking about the general fairness of the betting industry. I would quite like Jeff to talk about obviously the anti-post betting for Cheltenham and terms and conditions, and whether they should all be on a level playing field or whether they can't because of competition. But I believe, Billy, you had something you wanted to say with regards to what's being advertised and what you can actually...
Just a little point. I mean, you pick up the Racing Press and look online, and the glossy, come and open an account with us, we'll give you this opening offer, we'll do this, it'll be a wonderful world. It's very, very far removed from what you find when you go through the shop door. It's very different. But one point I would also like to make, not in defence of the industry, but...
Of course not.
Things like price-wise, I don't think help the punter or the bookmaker, because when a very high-profile column or tipster or person like Tom Segal says to everybody, go out to this particular bookmaker, take the best price, take loads of money off them, that kind of thing doesn't help the industry or the punter, I don't think.
But it can help. Surely it can help the punter. All three of you, might agree with this. In terms of, it can help the punter if you think Tom Segal's picked an absolute stinker. Your horse is going to have bigger odds on it. It's not all about agreeing with the same person here, is it?
No, it's not. But I mean, I think the point also. Can I just make a point about anti-post in relation to Cheltenham? Did you no runner, no bet?
We have gone this week non-runner, no bet for Cheltenham, along with Bet365. We're another firm that went non-runner, no bet. So we've gone non-runner, no bet on all the races at Cheltenham this week. So we've been fairly avalanched.
And would that apply to Sprinter Sacra last week? If anyone had a bet with you with Sprinter Sacra?
Yeah, absolutely. But we didn't do it last week. One of the problems, the particular problems this year, it gets progressively worse. Is Willie Mullins can put 6 runners in each race. So when we get close to the event, we're going to know that 2 are going to here, 1's going to go here, 1's going to go there, and whatever. It makes in reality, it makes a minefield for any bookmaker because take for example, the biggest example would be the Mayor's Hurdle. If Cavega, for example, decides to run in the Champion Hurdle, decides to step out of selling class and run in grade 1 for a change, then that would of course turn the complete apple cart on the betting. It was the same situation last year. If Cavega were to run in a better class of race, then of course that would have made a nonsense of betting. That's what makes non-runner no betting such a minefield for bookmakers of the Cheltenham Festival, and it didn't used to be the case because so many different trainers had so many different horses.
But I mean, punting's a complete minefield for Cheltenham at the moment. This far off that surely, if you're a bookmaker, you'd be absolutely enticing the punter through the front door, saying, have a bet on a horse who's going to run in 2 or 3 weeks' time. You've got no idea what the ground's going to be or whether he's even going to be fit.
Tom, can I just say something on this? And then this bugs me quite a lot.
Yeah.
You've got the 3 big races of the festival: one, the Champion Hurdle, the World Hurdle, and the Gold Cup. Now, you guarantee that bookmakers and bookmakers industries will offer some ridiculous price on the day to capture new people in. Now, for people who have a bet every year, look forward to the Champion Hurdle, you might say to yourself, right, I like how I can fly. I'm only using this as an example.
Yeah.
It's 3 to 1 at the moment, but on the day, some bookmaker will offer 6, 7 to 1.
Yeah.
So it's
some kind of enhanced price special.
Absolutely. Why do an anti-post now? Why have a bit on anti-post?
There's a simple answer to that. All the mugs queue up. The mugs, it's televised on the television. It hits the headlines on the television. It hits on all the various networks. Oh my goodness! Like last year's major offer was the Coral offer of X number of £10 £20 bets on Sprinter Sacre evens, whatever the offer was. It made the headlines. So it made Corals an awful lot of PR. It didn't cost them a lot of money. Forget about their nonsense about how much it cost them. It didn't cost them a lot of money. Sure, they didn't make any money out of the race, but they were never going to make any money out of the race anyway. Nobody was betting on it as an event. But what they did gain is an armful of good customers. Now, you guys complain about this, but you queue up at Coral's door to have that £10 bet.
The majority of people that probably queue up at the arms of Coral's are people that have already got an account with someone else, or got an account with Coral's and ring up the mum and the daughter and the grandson or whatever it might be. Not the grandson, but you know what I mean.
So therefore, arguing from Coral's point of view, and if you're a punter out there, what you've got to think about, try to put yourself in the mind of Richard Glynn of Ladbrokes or Ralph Topping of William Hill. Put yourself in their mind and what you would do to gain more custom for your company to flow them onto better margin profit products. Would you be prepared to throw away a tenner, £12 on Sprinter Sacre to each of those customers to gain that customer so that you could potentially, and don't forget he deposits his money, and anybody that's won £10 or £12 or £13 or whatever the hell you want, £20, do they then necessarily withdraw their money immediately? No. A lot of them keep their money in and they're going to spend it on something else. So in reality, if Sprinter Sacre wins, which clearly he wouldn't have done this year anyway because he didn't train on. But if Sprinter Sacre wins, then Coral do their money, but a proportion of those customers kept their money in. So at the end of the day...
Well, they did give it on a 1 to 4 shot at the time, didn't they?
1 to 4 shot, yeah, exactly. The new one, downsize your home.
Two chances of me downsizing my home after this, Cheltenham, slim and none.
Can I ask you a question, Jeff?
Sir.
You don't have to answer it. On a Cheltenham day, how much would you... What has been your best Cheltenham from a punting perspective, and what kind of money can you take on a day?
What kind of money can I take on a day?
Well, maybe not answer that one then, but what's your best Cheltenham? Okay, what's your best Cheltenham?
My best?
Yeah, your best result.
My best result?
Yeah.
I mean, it's difficult to say. I don't really want to go into figures here. It sounds.
Don't give me figures.
It sounds obscene. But I mean, you can, as a bookmaker, you can win between 50, 60, 70 grand on a race easily. It is possible to do. Depends on how ballsy you
can lose it as well, though. No,
but you're damn right. Absolutely. You can do. I mean, I've done some money to make your eye waters on races, and Salsify, which for example was a £40,000 swing, would be one of the lesser amounts.
And coming out of the last day, you thought you'd done.
I had won the money.
Jane
I had won the money. I had won the money. I think I should have won it in the steward's room afterwards.
Let's quickly talk about anti-post bets. Billy, if I can draw you in for this one. I don't know whether you're an anti-post better or not.
I think it's absolutely crazy. I mean, as a serious punter, you look at so many factors going into the race, the ground and the opposition. And when it gets to Cheltenham, people think, I don't know what the ground's going to be. I don't know what the opposition's going to be. I don't really know anything. I don't know my horse is going to run, but I'm going to pile my money in anti-post. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. Have you got an anti-post bet, Pete?
There's only one I like, and that's in the Arkle. I like Trifilium, only because it's beaten Champagne Fever, and I think more of that is interesting in the World Hurdle.
Trifolium, yeah. Well, I mean, we had one in saying that they thought Rock on Ruby was a penalty kick. Yeah. I don't personally think so. I'm with you on Trifolium.